right. Hey there. Welcome, everybody. Just a few minutes after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on Friday, the 22nd of March, 2024. Hopefully, you guys are doing all right. I'm Christopher Inks with Texas West Capital, and we're coming at you live here from just north of Houston, Texas. And man, oh man, so what a day it's been, not just for Bitcoin, but TradingView having a bit of issues there this morning. If any of y'all use it, you might have noticed where the drawings weren't showing up in the charts. And then some little bit of technical issue here trying to get going today. So anyway, we made it. We're here. Good to see you guys showing up. We'll take a look at some thoughts that I have here. But, today's show is, asking the question, is the top in? And I'm asking this question because so many people out there, it's kind of blowing my mind. So me saying that should give you an idea of what I think. But so many people out there are trying to tell you that the top's in. It doesn't make any sense. We're not talking about short-term tops. Again, there's a load of people out there saying this is the cycle top. And so one of their biggest things right now is because of the outflows from the ETFs. So we've had 4 days in a row now of outflows. That's the second time it's happened in the last 2 months. And so far the outflows, it was we had 154.3 on the 18th of March, then 326.2 on the 19th of March, 261.5 on the 20th of March, and then yesterday we had 94, right? On the outflows there, a million, right? But here's the thing. Look at where the outflows are coming from. All 4 of those days, the only one where the outflows were coming from were GBTC, other than 2 days ago where we had a 10.2 outflow from BTCO. Everybody else has been inflows. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the outflows are coming from the people who've been in for a while, right? The ones, the more the crypto people. They're getting out here while we're getting this pullback. They're jumping the boat, right? But the other ETF, the new ETFs, the money coming into new ETFs is staying. It's not, like I said, other than the 1 day there with BTCO. It's all been inflows. And even IBIT, which was slowing down the last couple of days, they had a huge 451.5 million there on the 18th of March. And then the 19th, they had 75.2. The 20th, they had 49.3. And then yesterday back up to 233.4. And this is in spite of, so they still had inflows in spite of the fact that price is pulling down. So again, I bring this up because there's a lot of people out here who want to say, oh, well, ETFs are easy to get in, easy to get out, and they are. But where you really should be watching these ETFs is as they start getting into the much larger RIAs, right? And the ones that do a lot of the allocating for their clients. Clients won't even know there, and the clients are like, listen, here's our money, you allocated for us. And those are going to take, I've been talking about this for the last 2 months. Those are going to take a few months, guys. It'll probably be summer, maybe Q3 into summer, fall, before we really start seeing any kind of real money flowing in from there. Because they have to do all their, because they're allocating on behalf of their clients, and they're much, much larger. And so it takes them a while to actually do their due diligence. They at least 90 days of due diligence, at least, just making sure that the ETFs don't roll over and die, right? You don't want to be putting your money into a product that's going to die off. And beyond that, what we're finding is that a huge swath of these RIAs don't actually know what Bitcoin is or really know anything about it. And so they have to now get up to speed on that as well. They're not just going to pop it in there, guys. Listen, you guys are sitting in here in this echo chamber. You guys, I know you're sitting there on X all day long in your little echo chamber for crypto, right? So it seems to you like everybody knows about it and everything's about it. But I'm telling you what, you walk outside and not many people are really thinking about it. Not many people even really know what it is. And so when you think in terms of these RIAs that are going to be allocating into, allocating Bitcoin into their clients' portfolios, it's going to take a bit, guys. So the fact that we've had the huge bit of inflows that we have already in the last 2 months, And this is just touching the surface. So the idea again that this is the top of the cycle because we had a few days of outflows, which basically all that outflow, 99+% of that outflow was from GBTC. Everything else still had inflows or was flat. Other than that one day, like I said, with BTCO. So again, guys, it's not enough just to say, oh, there's outflows going from the ETF. So, that's the top. That's the top. No, the outflows are from GBTC. Now, why all of a sudden they've got this kick up here of the last 4 days of really kind of getting outflows, I don't know yet. But, if we understand them to be people that have been in the crypto markets for a while and not really long-term holders, it makes sense. They freak out when the price starts moving down, just like you do, right? So stop like freaking out about it. Stop being so like insanely, oh my God, it's the end of the world type thing. You guys are living on these 5 and 15-minute time frames. And really, if you just zoom out a bit, you'd be a heck of a lot better off because there's a lot of volatility. And there's going to be a lot more volatility incoming, guys. We've had some crazy volatility the last, let's see here, since the all-time high here on the March 14th, about a week ago. We're having these $3,000 and $4,000 days, one after the other, down, up, down, up, down. Just the other day, we had what was here? Wednesday was that day we had something like 12% rally there, $7,500 rally, bullish engulfing candle on the daily. It was crazy, right? But we're going to be seeing more of this as we continue to get up higher there, guys. And it's going to seem like it's a bit, because you think absolute dollar wise, but in terms of percentages, even that, I guess even that's a pretty good, a bit of a rally, but you're going to be seeing that more. So you really have to get off those short time frames if you want to keep your sanity, I think, as this thing kind of barrels on into 100 grand and more. Let me see here. Sats, what's up, Sats? Sats is saying last year, before the ETFs were approved, people were saying that only 3 of the ETFs would likely survive. I was one of those people. But with their massive inflows, it looks like all of them will. It does. It does. Yes. It's a very good point, Sats. I was one of those people that said, the likelihood was that we would get maybe 3 or 4 of them that would make it through the first year. And I mean, these inflows are just incredible, guys. And for many of y'all, even if you've dealt with some ETFs in terms of maybe trading or maybe putting your 401k or something, most people we're finding out, obviously, really have no clue how ETFs work, right? And so one of the questions that's asked is, well, do they buy and sell all day long? No, they buy once a day, okay? They buy once a day after the end of the business day. Let me see here. There's a great follow. If you guys are not following, you need to. So I'm a big fan of these the Bitwise guys. Okay, I mean, geez, whiz, guys, they're out there so much and putting so much information out there for you, right? A lot of this stuff that I used to have to answer, and I don't really have to answer anymore because they're doing it. But Teddy Fusaro, God, I hope I said his name correctly. He's the president over there at Bitwise Invest. Okay. You should watch him. You should follow him. His @ is Teddy Fuse. So TEDDYFUSE. And he's been doing great Q&As about how all these things happen. How do the ETFs actually, again, what we were just talking about, how do they buy and whatever. And he talks about how, he went through a whole thing about how they do it specifically. And then he talks about how some of the other ones do it, and when specifically. But usually, again, it's at the end of the day, they aggregate it all. They do all their buying and selling right there at one time at the end of the day. And so that's where you get it. And depending on who they are, it might be a little bit later into the evening with it, but that's what they do, guys. So yeah, it's not buying and selling all day long. It's at the end of the day. And so, yeah, we've got that there, right? Let me see here. Fibble's not a fan, but we all know that. Let me see here. So I'll just kind of go through this stuff here real quick. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. with the stream starting just a few minutes later there. Again, due to those technical issues we were having. Okay, yeah. So we've got that, right? And then when will the S&P top? So far, Bitcoin has gone up with the S&P. So whenever the S&P tops, then Bitcoin will top. Thoughts? I don't do correlations. I'm not a big fan of correlations. If you ever watch it, correlations are not like they're not constant. People say, "Oh, look, it's a correlation, for these couple of days or something, basically." And to me, if it's not something consistent, then it's nothing worth worrying about. Why would you worry about correlation with something that it is not correlated with all the time, right? Because if it's not correlated with it all the time, then is it really correlated with it? It's not, right? And I think that's where a lot of people get hung up with this. They're trying to make things a lot more difficult than they have to. They're like, oh my God, well, I don't know what's going on with Bitcoin. I'm scared with Bitcoin. So when the S&P tops, Bitcoin's going to top. Well, maybe, but they're both products of liquidity flows, guys. They're both products of what that global liquidity is doing. Okay. So as long as the Fed keeps the spigot on, you should generally expect that prices are going to continue to rise because you're going to get all that excess money, right, into the out and about, right? And that money has to go somewhere. That's why it becomes risk off. That's why, well, okay, so you got extra money, put it in the market, right? That's what's going on there. So I wouldn't say that Bitcoin is correlated with the S&P. I think you should look at it much more as they're both reacting to liquidity flows, not just from the Fed, but global wise, right? And speaking of the Fed, the Fed's talking about, still cutting rates this year. We saw a big surprise pop up there with the CPI and whatnot recently. Might they cut once, maybe in the year, maybe. But the Fed, I think, is kind of caught between this rock and this hard place because they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't, as far as inflation and everything else goes, right? But you watch them, watch what they're doing, and don't just watch don't just watch the QE or whatever. I think they're about done with the whole QT thing. I think the market's like pressed them with that. I think, or the economy has pressed them with that. I think they're pretty much done with that. So if they're not tightening anymore, the worst they're going to do is stay even, right? But the odds are they're going to push some liquidity, into the broader economy. And again, when that's coming out there, it's got to go somewhere. And the odds of where it's going are, stocks and crypto and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot more potential for price to do a thing to the upside, like a lot further to the upside. So those of you who've been following me for a while, when everybody was talking about how things look like 2015 coming out of the bear market low, 2015, 16. And I kept telling you, no, to me, it looks a lot more like 2013. You guys remember that? Well, anyway, recently, Willy Woo, Woonomics over there on Twitter, he posted his thoughts and how things are looking from a much more researched kind of perspective, and how it looks like there's a good possibility we could be seeing something more like 2013, where you had the double pump. So you had a top and a pullback and then a much higher top. And so, that would be the same thing I was saying back, what is it, over a year ago, when everybody else was talking about 2015, 2016 repeat. And then that gets interesting because then that starts really pushing the narrative of, do we get 300, 400, 500,000? And I know, again, a lot of y'all that are watching me, okay, let's do it this way. You tend to look at the world through your own socioeconomic lens, okay? And so when you think about prices, it's based on your socioeconomic level, what you're used to seeing day in and day out of with yourself, and you're used to paying and being confronted with. And I bring that up because when I say 100,000, most of the time retail's like, oh my God, that's so big. That's so, oh my gosh, so terrible. So huge, right? How could it possibly do that? And we look from where we're at 63,000 right now, is what? Not even 50%? Or about 50%, right? 60, 70,000, it's about 50% to get to 100,000. That's it, 50%. Bitcoin runs hundreds of percent at a time. And so, I think a lot of the blowback that people get when they talk about bigger numbers like that is just um, this understanding of the world through their own socioeconomic lens. And so, I bring that up just so that way you can become aware of it, because most people aren't aware of it. They don't think that way. They just think, oh my God, that's a lot. How could it do it? But here's the reality, guys. For those of you that have never dealt with ultra high net worth individuals, very large companies, stuff like that, right? Funds, very large funds, stuff like that, they don't get interested until price gets up there. They're like 63,000, like to them, it's chicken scratch. It's nothing. So they're not interested. Yeah, you got to break 100 grand, 200 grand, and then they go, okay, maybe we'll take a little bit of a look at it now. So when you go, oh my God, Bitcoin at 100,000 or 200,000, that's so expensive, right? They're thinking, okay, it's kind of up here a little bit now. It's getting closer to something we can look at now. And that's the difference. And so the other big thing then becomes, okay, well, if it gets up that high, who's going to sell? There's sellers at all price levels, guys. There's sellers at all price levels. Don't ever forget that, okay? We all like to say, oh, we'd never sell. But I'll tell you what, especially if you're used to making 30, 40, 60,000 a year, even 100,000 a year, and you maybe have a Bitcoin or a few Bitcoin, and somebody says, hey, listen, I'm going to give you 500,000 or $1 million of Bitcoin. The market says that. Most of you probably going to take it. I don't care what you're saying today. And that's not to be rude. That's not to be disrespectful or anything, but that's a reality check. Because people like to believe that they would do a certain thing, but we never really know how we would act until we're put in that situation. And for most people, when you can go from here to here in one step, it's tempting. It's tempting. And there's nothing wrong with that. If just being a human being, it is what it is, right? Me personally, I'd love to say that I'm never going to sell, right? I don't think I am. I don't plan to. But if I were to sit here and look at you guys right here and tell you I'm never going to sell, never is never, I'd be lying to you, because I don't know what would happen if we get to this point, for me, whatever point that happens to be, in terms of how much I'm holding and what the value per Bitcoin is. And if I can go all out and go, well, hell, I could buy 2 private islands and my grandchildren's grandchildren would never have to worry about money again. It's kind of hard, it's kind of hard to say I wouldn't do that. But, again, I think if you're thinking in terms of, oh my God, the dollar's going to collapse tomorrow, then you'll be like, oh no, I'm never going to do it. But dollar isn't going to collapse tomorrow, guys. Okay. I mean, it may go down some point in the future, but I think we're probably 30 years out, at least, if I'm honest with you. And I know you go, oh, but all the spending. Yeah, but it's the world's reserve currency. Oh, but Weimar Republic and blah. Yeah, but that's a different thing. Wasn't the world's reserve currency. You're in a whole different thing when the world itself basically has that there are more dollars offshore than there are in the US. Okay. Euro dollars is what we call them. Okay. And so the world itself desires more dollars. I don't care what BRICS is saying and whatnot. The world itself wants more dollars. And here's the thing. If they don't, right, if they stop the desire for the dollars, right, and it becomes deflationary in that way, that's going to hurt them. The US is going to be the last one that's hurt, because the US is that supplier. There's a lot more to it, but that's a general idea of it. Okay. And for a lot of people, that are just coming in, the thing I love about Bitcoin is it has you thinking about monetary stuff, right? Unfortunately, you have to get through all the misgivings and misunderstandings at the beginning. And you see a lot of them touted over and over again online, in crypto Twitter and whatnot. But as you hopefully work your way into, you start understanding more and more and more. And that doesn't mean there isn't a place for Bitcoin, right? The financial system, the way it is, doesn't even have to disappear. Bitcoin could become an integrated part of that. Okay. It doesn't, the system does not have to die in order for Bitcoin to be something. Bitcoin is already something. Okay. So just some thoughts on all that, guys. Let me see here. Gray Dawn, damn it, says, yes, I will totally take it. That's always been the plan. Talking about money, right? Yeah, yeah. Do you think maybe people who wanted to buy these ETFs are in? Maybe inflows may already slow down as people start to wait and see. We're at a very, you have to understand, we're at a very, so there are like levels of wealth, right? And so these ETFs that we're seeing here is like at the bottom rung of this next level of wealth, okay? So a lot of who are getting in on the ETFs are just people that are self-directed themselves, right? That they're getting into the ETFs themselves. There's a few smaller RIAs who are allocating for their customers, their clients, but the big ones, the ones that really matter, are not in yet. Again, as I was saying at the beginning, they're still doing their due diligence, going through all that. That's the money I think that we'll start to see come maybe. See, I say summer, but I hate to say summer because summer's usually just this lull, right? So probably by the end of summer, beginning of fall, I think we'll really start seeing those inflows in. But until then, I think there's a good chance we continue to see these inflows coming in. You have to understand, we've got these inflows coming in right now, other than GBTC, in spite of the fact that we've pulled back. How far have we pulled back here? 17% or something? I got to use my tool here real quick and just look. I'll pull up the chart here in a minute, guys. Yeah, 17.5% in a week. And all the ETFs are still bringing in money. People are still getting into them in spite of that, right? So I don't think like all the people are in and that's it. No, not at all. Not at all. I think there's a lot more out there. Just either watching themselves or waiting for their RIA to allow them to be able to jump in, or just money that's going to come from the IRAs again that are going to just allocate Bitcoin into these portfolios for their clients without the clients even know, because the client's like, again, here's my money, do your thing. You know, I'm paying you to do the right thing here and do the thing. So yeah, I think we got a lot more, so much going on there. Okay. Let me see here. So let me go ahead and pull up some charts here, guys. Just some thoughts there. I just wanted to kind of clarify this idea on the Bitcoin ETFs, because we do have 4 days of outflows in a row, which is only the second time it's done this. But again, 99.9% of that outflow was GBTC. Everybody else saw inflows, right? Other than the 1 day with BTCO 2 days ago, which saw that 10.2 million outflow. But everything else has been inflows. And so I think it really starts getting interesting now that the price is kind of hanging around where it is at the moment. Let me see here. Let's see here. Hey, listen, buddy, if you're falling asleep, feel free to jump, man. Head out of here. It's you know, do what you need to do, man. Get gone if you need to. If you're not listening and learning, you don't need to be here. It's as simple as that, right? Man, oh man, it always gets me when people are like that. They act like they ain't raised with no damn manners, right? Grew up in a barn. They have no interest in learning anything. They just want to be told, buy here, sell here. Can't do that, guys. Anyway, so here's what we got. My count. Still nothing's really changed with this count at the moment here, guys. Okay. Nothing's really changed here. We do have a possibility, though, that could change locally, right? What we're looking at. Remember, I've still got the idea that we've got this. Let me get this out of the way here. This 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So this wave circle 3 has a minimum expected target, 115, 227.50. All right. We're working on this right here. Okay. So what we're looking for now is, do we hold this low here? And in which case, if we do, we'd be looking at minimum expected wave 3 target, which starts getting us up here, right? All of a sudden, this 1, 2, 3 is up here around 151, which means this 3 moves higher. This 3 starts getting closer to 170. Okay. So right now, until we, get up here, this is our main kind of, think of it as your main chart target as we continue to build up higher, right? Now, the other thing could happen here is this could maybe actually turn into some sort of flat here. So we get an A down, a B up, and a C down here toward the daily pivot. Okay. And so if we do this, all right, so it just brings it down a little bit further there, right? I mean, you're still getting up higher. Now it's 143, 171, right? So this is kind of what I'm looking at now. Do we hold it here and we go, okay, well, this is 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, working our way up toward 115, potentially higher for just this wave circle 3 of the larger wave 3? Or do we break down here? So if we're to break down below this swing low here, this is 60,794.84 on this chart. If we're breaking down through that, I think we're probably breaking down through this swing low. And my first target is the pivot here right around the 55.7. Nothing's changed. Same thing I've talked about. I talked about it a week ago. We're breaking down there. That's my target. However, if we hold this support right here and we rally back up above 68,918 and 50 cents right here, so this holds and we don't break down, instead we just route through there, well, then I'm looking at this is the low here and we're headed up. It really is. I mean, that's where we are, guys. Those are the two levels I'm watching. So I talked about a week ago or whatever, or earlier this week, that the 68,900 level is where I was looking for the breakout. We need an impulsive breakout that closes above that. Okay. Can we visit the S1 at 49? We can do many things. What are the odds, though? I think if we were to hit this area down here. So here's the thing. The longer the pivot is alive, the less effective it becomes. Okay. Doesn't mean it's not effective, but as you're getting toward, this daily pivot here, this pivot on the daily, it changes every month, right? So at the end of the month, it's going to change. So we're already halfway through the month, over halfway through the month. So the idea that this would pivot here, I don't think so. I think what we would do is if we lose this pivot here, I think we start looking right around this area right here. So this is kind of that 51,000 to 53,000 area. I think that's where we get to, right around there. And so, I don't know, if we come off this, that would suggest that this is probably a 1 and we've got a 2 here. And as you can see, just below it, there's the 61.8, just above it's the 50%. But yeah, I think that would be that next area that we would look at. Yeah. So, again, if we break down below this swing low, then I think we'll probably break down below this one, which will give us the target of the daily, secondary target of this little range right here. Nothing's changed. Same thing, been talking about for a while. Same levels, still holding up there. But again, if we do break up above that, 68,000, what is it here? 68,918 and 50 cents here on this chart. Breaking out through that impulsively and closing above it should indicate that the bottom's in and we're rallying up higher there. Okay. And so, yeah, so, we kind of look at that. We go, okay, well, that's what we're looking at. We've got some overextensions going on here. So the count may need to be adjusted as we continue up, but that's why we sit here and we watch like the 1, 2 and the 1, 2 here. That's our big target areas. So this interior 1, 2, again, has that minimum expected wave 3 up there at 115,227. As we wait and see what's going on here, how does this kind of adjust in here now? Again, do we go from here or do we get the pull down to one of these areas and then we adjust our count working toward that then, right? As you can see on the daily here, let me see here. We have RSI hanging around neutral right there right now. Stochc RSI trying to break out of oversold as we're finding support in the triangle here. So, I mean, it's a great target area that we had, and it hit it. But now the question is, does it hold, and do we bounce higher or not on that? But this is the chart, though, guys. This is the chart. Y'all freaking out about 5-minute and 10-minute time frames and whatnot, 15-minute time frames, but this is the chart. It's absolutely crazy to worry about that short time frame. Just zoom out a bit. You are in the throes of this massive bull run that started down here at 15.5 and has already rallied up to 70, almost 74,000. You know, that's huge, right? And if we look here, it's a rally of almost 400%, $58,000. And so many people have given me hell all the way from here, all the way up. I know people that still haven't gotten in yet because they're so scared it's going to turn down. Stop. You got to get in and trade, guys, right? I mean, if you're going to get in there or if you're going to invest, you got to get in there and invest. If you're fearful because you're scared that if you get in, it's going to go down lower or something, there's a lot of things you have to change. I would say, one, you're probably going in too large. You're not comfortable with how large size you're going in. Two, you probably don't have any risk management at all, much less proper risk management. Three, you probably have no clue how and why markets move the way they do. Honestly, the real reason why they move the way they do. Four, because you really don't understand how to then gauge its movement and why and understand it. And so all that fear is what drives you to jump in on FOMO or to jump out on FUD rather than understanding what may be going on and where price may be headed. And so, that's why we focus so much on that, at Texas West Capital. Man, it's like we start you with risk management and how and why markets move the way they do. And then we continue to teach that the entire time you're in there. And it's just constant, showing you how to read the charts and understand what people are doing or what they may be doing. And then the risk management, of course, is in there to help protect you, from yourself, to let you know when what you thought was going to happen is really not happening. Okay. Let me see here. Let me see. So that's what we're kind of looking at there. I've got the dollar. Nothing's changed. This is my, still my big macro roadmap here, guys. I think we may have a 1 with a flat as a 2. We had a nice pullback here on the monthly here and rally back up. So this could be, an A, a B, and a C, potentially up here toward 105.75, 106 even, and come down. So what we're looking for is a breakdown below 99.22, because if this is a flat, this is A, this is B, this is C. So breaking down through wave B should keep you going. And then I have a wave 3 target down here at 75.33. Now, if we happen to break out above wave 2, then I become really cautious, because if we break out above this 114.745 area here, then we're probably headed up to around 125.705. Okay. So, that's still where we're at here. I'm not worried about all the, day-to-day little movements in there. If we look here at the weekly, this weekly did pretty good, rallied up, but it hasn't broken out yet. But again, we could see this rally on up here toward this low volume node right here at around the R1 pivot. Again, that 105.7 kind of area. And what we would be looking for then, if we got that, is a breakdown through this swing low at 102.3 to kind of signal, okay, it was a correction. It's 3 waves, pull back below it. Now we're heading down. Okay. Not a triangle though? No, I don't think so. No. The only triangle I could see is if we're counting this down, A, B, C, D, E. So a wave 4 triangle here into a wave 5. This to me does not look like a triangle. This is too far lead in for this little bit. Okay. I can't guarantee it's not, but when you look at it, usually most of the time, let me do this. Most of the time, if you've got this big wave A and then this little wave B, C, D, E, usually that does not play out as a triangle because it's such a large lead in and such a small, most of the triangles, this really tiny area. Okay. Your triangles are usually going to be a bit larger in there, giving you more of that back and forth between the swing high and the swing low. Okay. So I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. And, again, you have to zoom in here and start counting your waves here. Start counting what you got going on. Don't just assume, oh, it's this big one here. If you're using a really large time frame, you have to zoom in. You have to go in there and check your count, because if you can't make that happen, with your count, then why would we even be thinking about it, right? When we're doing that. So yeah, again, I don't think it is. To me, it doesn't seem to be. I can't guarantee that it's not, but again, large lead in with a very local kind of triangle finishing for most of it. Not usually what you're kind of expecting to see on that. But we'll see how it plays out. Maybe we get this down and then we get a big one up here and then a deer here. And this thing could end up going sideways. What if Bitcoin, or I'm sorry, the dollar here, what if it just went sideways and built a large triangle for the rest of the year? So we rallied up here, so we get an A down and then a B up here toward June and a C down here toward August, a D up here November, December gets us E, and then we go up, right? So yeah, just some thoughts on it as far as that. I could see that potentially happening, maybe. And again, in which case this becomes a 3 and this is the 4, and our target is up here at the 125 area. So yeah. Let me see here. Real quick here, RTY, guys. I've been talking about this for a while now. We had this big accumulation range. We had a very slight little spring down here at the bottom. Looks like we're printing our 5th wave based on the height of wave 4 here. That gives us a target at this volume shelf up here of 2227.9. And then, of course, that should give us a wave 2 pullback here to around 1930, 1935 area, most likely. But it looks like small caps are, again, as I mentioned, we were coming down in this area. I mentioned it looked like small caps would be getting ready to take over. And that is what it looks like. RTY, if you guys don't know, is the Russell 2000, which is the small caps. It's the futures product, though. You can trade the futures of it. So RTY looking like that. BNB, if y'all didn't listen to me about it, again, I don't know what to tell y'all. We were talking about it heading up here. When everybody's talking about a breakdown through 200, sending it all the way down to $20 and then to zero. Everybody had their reasons. Oh, CZ and Binance and the government is suing them and they're under investigation, and CZ admitted guilt and all that. Everybody had every reason in the world why this thing was going to go down. And we talked about it going up, back up to the top of the range. And then again, when we had this here, I said, wouldn't it be a shame? Because everybody was again talking about coming down. So wouldn't it be a shame if we broke out and headed up there? And, again, so if you're paying attention, you had ample opportunity to get in between basically 180 and 210. And then again here at around 260. This thing has just rallied like a champ. 650 so far. Okay. So absolutely banger move here. This looks like, based on this price action and volume here, it looks like this is a good potential reaccumulation phase here, which would get us into much higher moves there. Sol, still the same chart, guys. Same chart I've been giving you guys. Well, a version of that same chart, right? Since we were down here about $9.5 when I said it was a good buy. And by the way, I mentioned on the Wendy O show, just because everybody's always like, you never said that. And I'm trying to let you know, no, big show. A lot of people watch it. Said it on there. Dealt with a lot of hate when I said it. Apparently, I was an idiot back then, and I was so stupid. And they hoped I wasn't charging money to people. Oh, it's good times, right, guys? So anyway, so we did our accumulation here. Man, broke out just beautifully. Continue to rally up again, guys. We rallied in between the pivot and the R1 here on the weekly. Perfect test of the pivot. Broke out impulsively. You can see it right here through the swing high. There's no reason we shouldn't be rallying at least to 410 up there at the R5 pivot on the weekly, at least, right? So let me see here. And if we're looking right here, so this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Probably locally, probably have another push up here. Let's see. 38.2. We're just about there. It's 158.44, or the 50% down there, 144.96 area. We could see it potentially pulling back to that. Basically, it's just pulling back to this right here, guys. That's what we're looking to hold there. And then that would give us then a rally. If we pull down that far, we could go from where we're at, but if we pull down that far, that gives us the next move up here around 263, up here around the R3 pivot, all-time high. So yeah. But yeah, 38.2 will get us that pull back a bit further there into that area. Let me see here. Silver and gold still following the plan. Gold, again, remember, this is the large 3 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And working on a 5 up here, right? But in that way, we've got a 1 and a 2. Minimum expected wave 3 is up here at 27.8260. More locally here, wave circle 3, minimum expected target up there 26.12. So again, feeling like we got a lot more upside here for gold. Here was the range we were in. We had the peak out here, and then we're getting the push out now. We'll peak out higher here, looking to make that move a bit further there. Let's see here. Pull up the algo chart, and I will join the group. Yeah, no, I don't work that way. Sorry. And some of you guys, I don't know. Some of you guys, you get me and you're like, convince me to join. And I'm like, I don't have to convince you to join. Either you understand you need help and you don't know what's really going on with the markets and how to trade them properly, and you join, or you don't. I mean, really, guys, that's that simple. I'm not here to beg you to join. We do a great service. Ask anybody that's in here that's in right now. They'll tell you. People stay with us for years. That's more than most people can say out there, guys, that try and do what we do. You know, we're here. If you want to learn, if you're serious about learning how to trade and you want to do it, and you want to learn to do it the right way, and not just how to use the tools, but how to actually approach trading, you can do that, right? But if not, that's okay. That's on you. You know, you can still show up for these shows if you want. Follow me on Twitter and everything else. It's up to you. But don't ever think I have to beg you guys to join. That's craziness. Let me see here. Look at that. You got to want to learn. That's exactly right. I can't do it for you guys. You know, I will bend over backwards to help you learn. But at the end of the day, you've got to be focused, disciplined, consistent, and patient. If you are not those things, whether you're with us or anybody else, it's not going to work. So, think about that before you put money into anything, guys, okay? And not just in trading, but in life, anything that you want to learn in life. It's all the same thing. The skills I teach at TWC are the same life skills that go for absolutely anything that you want to get good at, that you want to be successful at. Everything is transferable. You are not going to be, I say this all the time, you're not going to be one way in one area of your life and expect to be a different way in another area of your life. You're going to always be the same way. If you're constantly a victim, if you never feel like you have control, if you feel like everything always happens to you, don't get into trading, because you won't be able to do it. You're stopping yourself, right? With that mentality that you have, right? It stops you from actually being successful. There's nothing anybody can teach you about some way to trade or anything that's ever going to change, because your emotions and the way you deal with them are going to make sure that you don't follow the rules, that you don't do the things that you have to do and how you have to do them. So yeah, I mean, don't ever, if that's how you feel, don't join what we do. Don't join what anybody does, because you're not going to be able to make that happen. Okay. So, hopefully that makes sense, guys. Hopefully that kind of, really just opens it up, because so many people out there, guys, they just want your money. They'll bring you in so you bring in your money, and they don't understand these things I'm talking about, first of all, right? But they don't care either. They don't care. They're like, oh, well, listen, I showed you how the system works. Go make it work. I'm constantly talking about the emotional and the psychological side of it, because I want you to be successful. If you want to be successful, I want you to be successful, and I will do everything I can to help you get that way. So the other idea here, real quick, guys, the other idea here, maybe this is a leading diagonal. Maybe this is like a 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a 5. If so, if we get rejected, we continue down, I would look for an initial target right here around basically 2,000. That would be the initial target I look for. After that, 1915, 1920. Yeah, if we get this rejection, it does one of those two targets there, I'm going to assume this is probably a leading diagonal. So that'll give us a 1 and a 2, and our 3 will then be much, much further up than 2782.60. Okay. Are all my training classes online, or do you have any events locally? They're all online. We have people from all over the world that do that. But I've been considering maybe doing something locally here, maybe in the Woodlands or something. I would have to figure out how to make that work. But it's been something I've wanted to do since we moved here about a year ago. So, do some live stuff. I think that'd be pretty cool. Get some kind of meetups going, I think that'd be really cool. But to be honest, I haven't been able to figure it out yet, but I'm working on it. Yeah. Josh, what'd you say there? Only chart I ever asked Chris to pull up a couple years ago went up over 800% a few weeks later. Which one was that? Which one was that? That's funny, man. Yeah. Sarah says, I don't trade, only invest, but always learn a lot here. Thank you. I appreciate that. See, the things I talk about, guys, whether it's about markets in general or especially, I hope you guys really, even more than that, understand the other side when I talk about the mental and the emotional side and how to be successful with things. That's the goal, because that's transferable across everything you do. Okay. To me, it's the biggest thing that I actually teach you guys, or I attempt to teach you every week. And I've been doing it for, almost 7 years now. Right. Let me see here. Daniel, what's up, man? He says, is this idea of a left translated cycle is a worry, especially if a multi-year bear follows? I hope to have many more years in crypto. What are your thoughts on early blow off top? Okay. My first thing is, if you learn how and why markets move the way they do, how to forecast that stuff, like that, the stuff we teach, right? Then whether you're trading or investing, those skills work both ways with both of them. And you can make a ton of money, whether the market's going up or whether it's going down. And the best part about making a ton of money when it's going down is that you've got so much more when it goes up again, right? So that's the first thing I'm going to say. Second thing is, left translated cycle is a possibility. The idea that, again, we got to the all-time high in Bitcoin prior to halving, which says, okay, things are happening sooner. So again, left translated, right? The cycle is moving sooner, which could see a top Q3, Q4. That is definitely a possibility. But I think the big kind of elephant in the room here with all this is the ETF flows and this idea of what happens as you start getting out of summer. Do we see bigger and bigger inflows, due especially to the larger RIAs finally, allocating and stuff like that? Because if we see that, I don't think it becomes a left transaction. I think it's closer to the double pump idea from 2013. So that is, let me just show you this real quick here, guys, what I'm talking about. I realize now that maybe you didn't know what I'm talking about, right? Let's see here. Oh, this is gold. My bad. Wrong one. Let me jump back on the Bitcoin one here real quick. So what I'm talking about when I talk about that kind of double pump thing and what Willy Woo was referencing was this right here. So you get the big move up, do some sideways, and then one more big push up. Okay. And so in this case, that would be that idea that maybe we rally up to, 240,000, 220,000. We pull back, and then again, then comes that bigger pop, right? Then it takes that bigger pop. And what ends up happening then? So anybody that's telling you right now they know exactly what's going to happen is lying to you. They have an idea based on whatever they're using to consider it. Again, and the way that we work at TWC is always about what are the possibilities and the probabilities. And we work with smaller targets, keeping in mind other scenarios that may work out. Because if you keep in the smaller targets, then if that's all you get, that's what you're prepared for. If you're always focused on the very large targets, the largest, if you don't make it up there and the chart starts telling you, listen, we're topped out, we're going the other way, you may not, most of the time, get out. You're going to continue holding, right? Thinking it's got to go up to that larger target. So we work with it, and the way I teach it is always work with your smaller targets and keep in mind the possibilities and keep adjusting them with the tools we show you how to use to see if maybe you're going to get those larger targets along the way. So yeah, I'm not really overly concerned about it because again, we'll make money on the downside, but I think there's a good, case to be made for some potential kind of double pump kind of idea, which would go along with something I've been saying for a long time, which is the idea that there's an adoption curve, right? Because Bitcoin is a technology. And we may just be in the first beginning stages of that adoption curve, where the first stages of the mass adoption, and that leads to a huge run up, right? And that then leads into the idea of this super cycle thing, getting in there. So there's some possibilities here. I can't promise you it is or isn't going to do anything, but we work with the targets we have and we adjust them as we've been doing this year to continue to move higher up as price moves higher up and makes more sense with a different count going on that, right? Let me see here. When will I run a sign-up discount again? I was thinking about it this weekend for our group coaching. Yeah, I was thinking about this weekend. Not for the C3 service. That's only $97 a month, guys, which is like $3 and change a day. And not only do you get education, but you get our hot takes, which are some pretty great trades. AG is making us money right now. Cody was, the one that ran up 500 or 600% or whatever. We had so many more. I can't even think of them all, guys. But, way you make some money along the way as you're learning. But you get access to the hot takes, whether you do the C3 or the group coaching. But the group coaching is the one that really gets you the hands-on, the hand-holding, basically, right? It's the one where you're getting 3 live streams every week, learning how to apply what you're learning. You're seeing how to apply it to the charts, right? Because the most difficult thing I learned as a trader when I first started out and through the years is that, and that I've learned as an educator, is we always make the most perfect charts when we're teaching because we want you to learn the concepts and the ideas and the labels or whatever else we're doing, right? But the market itself rarely looks that perfect. And so the big sticking point for people when they learn usually is, okay, well, I learned this, but the charts look nothing like this. How do I apply it? And that's where we get in with we show you week after week. We take live charts. we talk about it. We show you this is how you apply Wyckoff, or this is how you apply Elliott wave. It's how you apply price action as you do that. So yeah. Let me see here. So group coaching, we've got a yearly. I'm going to tell you what, that's the best one. But you can also get in at the 3 month or 6 month. These are two different things I just added more recently. As a matter of fact, here, let me post this up here real quick. Boom. Look at that banner there on the bottom, guys. And so, like it says there, the links to the different things that we offer there with the group coaching or the C3 monthly subscription are all underneath the video, the specific links to them. So you can check those out there. And of course, if you ever have any questions, you can DM me or something, and I'll do my best to see it. If sometimes they end up in the DM hell where it doesn't even show it to me, and I have to go searching for it. So yeah. Let me see here. Excuse me. John saying 1 hot takes paid for his lifetime membership. Yeah. So his lifetime membership isn't cheap. But that was just one there. The time commitment for the group coaching, it's your schedule. So we do a live stream every Monday. We do Wyckoff at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern for an hour. We do Elliott Wave on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time for an hour. And then on Wednesdays, we do price action at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern for an hour. But they're all recorded because, again, we have members from all over the world. We got members in Japan and Australia, New Zealand, and Chile, and Mexico, and Canada, which is North Mexico, right? Mexico North. Anyway, so we got people from all over the world, the UK, all that kind of stuff. So Germany, and a lot of times they can't make the live streams, but they can watch the replay and then ask all the questions they need to. And like I said, we've got students that have been with us for years, guys, and they're quick to jump in there. They know everything works. They'll probably answer your questions a lot of time right before I can even get to it. But yeah, you have that. But you also have access to all the stuff. So when you're in the group coaching, you have access to it's hundreds and hundreds of hours. Every session I've taught for price action, Wyckoff, and Elliott Wave over the last, whatever it's been, 3 or 4 years. And, we do those weekly. So you get access to all those as well. You get access to, I think it's about 45 different quick draw trading strategies. They teach you how to get into a trend that's already going and whatnot. You get access to all that. Just so much. I don't charge enough, I'll be honest with you, for how much is in there and how much time I work with. But yeah, it's a ton there. True coaching includes a year of Mark's jokes. Is definitely worth it. Yeah, it is. Is there a scammer in the house? What do you mean? Did I miss something here? Let's see here. What chart are we talking about here, Yerrick? What chart are you talking about, man? Acro chart? What is that? Is that an Acro USDT? Is that what it is? Let me see here. I don't know what a lot of these cryptos are, guys, because I don't trade a lot of the small stuff. It just makes no sense for me. By the way, if you think that you have to trade the really crappy coins, the really shit coins that get rugged and whatever, just to to be successful, I promise you, you're going to end up a lot less successful doing that. Again, we teach you how to actually trade, how to approach the markets, rather than, thinking that you have to, my account's so small, I have to do this other thing and over leverage and all the other silly stuff. I thought this was a great chart, man. What you got going on here? We got a 3-wave pullback. I like that. Nice long demand wick here, right around that pivot area. A little bit of a spike of volume on the 3-day here. Let me see here. Let's see. Am I completely rolling with the new count where circle 1, 2 is confirmed? Yeah, I'm with that. Unless something else happens along the way there. Yeah, Andrew, on Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm still looking at that for sure, man. Let's see here. I mean, I think it looks like we got a. Let me see here. Yeah, that would give us a target up here of about 0.01828 area. This is 1, 2 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think. So here's the way I would look at this. There's your 1, there's your 2, there's your 3, right? This becomes A, B, C here. This is what we call a flat correction. Okay. It looks like it anyway. Let me make sure here. Yeah. Just going to make sure wave B rallies up at least 90% of wave A. But you get ABC down, ABC up, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down to finish out wave C. How far do we pull back here? 78.6. So nice pullback there. Yeah. So I'm looking for this rally up. So the first thing we want to see is a breakout above what would be wave 4 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure this is 5 down from wave B here. How do you do that? You break out above wave 4 at 0.007042. If you do that, that's your first clue that, hey, this is probably complete here. But you still need to break out above wave B up here at 009499 to add confidence to the count. Once you break out, rally from here and break out above wave B, that locks this in as 3 waves, which is corrective, and you'll be heading up. Again, minimum expected wave 3 there at 0.018282, and that gets you right near this previous peak. Let me see what we got here. This is a larger degree. It's ABC down. Is this a leading diagonal? No, I'm just going to go with this being a 1, 2, possibly a 3, 4, and a 5 because that pullback is so deep. So this becomes A, B, C. Let me see here. I think it's fine. We'll just run with that. So based on this, the larger degree wave 3 here, right? 1, 2, 3. That larger degree wave 3, which if you're going to hold this for a bit, that's the one you want to be interested in. Not this little local target here. Look at that. Almost put it right exactly where it is. 14.5 cents. Minimum expected target. Basically 5.5. Which gives minimum expected wave 5 up here at around 33 cents. Again, that's minimum expected. It can overextend and whatnot, but yeah, if I'm looking at this, that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we got 5 down. Let's head back up. Whoops. Looks like we had a bit of a wedge finishing off there. Got that nice breakout, rally up, head up there. So I think it's pretty. I think it's a pretty good target there, man. So again, you can look locally here at 0.018280. Keeping in mind what I talked about as far as getting above wave 4 and then wave B to add more confirmation to that. But then, I don't know how long you're planning on holding, but that wave 3 up there is a nice target up there at 14.5 cents, basically. This is Acro USDT. You can see it up here in the corner. Acro USDT. Yeah. Let me see here. This is really cool watching you work it out real time versus the pre-made chart, getting closer to joining. Again, I work really hard, probably a lot harder than I should. But again, trading has given me a great life. It really has. But there was a lot of nonsense I had to get through and learn, along the way. And so when I started with TWC, the idea was, listen, if you're really serious about learning, then I want to be as serious as possible about helping you learn. And so, that's kind of where we came out of. But at the end of the day, I can't do the work for you guys. I can't. You have to get in there. You have to listen. You have to apply. You have to practice. You have to be dedicated and consistent and focused and patient. But I'll tell you what, if you are, the potential payoff for what you get is absolutely huge. I know one of our guys, he's really into Wyckoff Math. He doubled his account in November of last year in 1 month. Doing what we're doing here. But yeah, it's just, you can see people in the comments right now that are in or have been in. But yeah, the one thing you're not getting from me is a bunch of fluff and nonsense and crap you don't need to know. So, if I'm talking about something, especially if it's something outside of trading, like emotions and psychology and stuff like that, that's the stuff. That is the stuff you really need to pay attention to, because that is going to determine whether or not you're going to become successful as a trader. If you listen to that stuff, you take that stuff in, because you can learn these things. Just so you guys understand, I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. You can learn how to do Elliott wave. You can learn how to do Wyckoff. You can learn how to do price action. You can learn these things, right? But unless you have your emotions and your psychology figured out, you're never going to abide by the rules like you should. Okay. And so, that unfortunately is one of those difficult things, right? That's why I always tell everybody, I'm not going to beg you to be a part of what we do. We're going to offer it out there. We're good at what we do. I would say we're probably one of the best out there, guys. Nobody else gives you a more comprehensive understanding of markets and how to trade them than what we do. And you can learn to trade Elliott wave and Wyckoff and price action. And that's good. That's a good start. But the way that I do it together, along with pivots, really gives you a lot more confidence once you learn it. And so, but again, at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do. We're here to help you guys hopefully become so much better than I've ever been. That's my goal, right? I don't just want you to be good. I want you to be better than I've ever been. And I've been pretty damn good. I've had a great life with this. And as a matter of fact, real quick here, guys, risk management is something I'm really passionate about, because it's not sexy. So most people don't want to do it, but it is, again, one of those things that if you don't do it, you will never be able to be successful as a trader. Our risk management that I teach works so well. I've already heard of 2 of our members that both have 2 prop trading accounts. If you guys don't know anything about prop trading, notoriously difficult to get and to keep, because because what they demand out of your risk management is so stringent. But using what I teach, they've both been able to get on 2 two accounts each. So they're trading other people's money. They're trading other people's $50,000, $25,000. They don't have to have that in their account. They're trading that and they're getting, 90% of that profits. So, yeah. What are you saying, Josh? You made enough money to pay off your house on that one chart you asked me to chart back in 21 when you remember TWC at the time? Yeah, and that's the best thing about it, especially if you jump in for like a year. You have multiple chart opportunities like that. And right now with us going in the bull market here that we're in with stocks and crypto, just so much money to be made. Okay. So, again, guys, and one of the best things I can tell you, whether you're with us or anybody else, guys, and hopefully if you're with anybody else, they have a chat area or something, get in there and talk, speak with other people that are in there, throw ideas off each other. It is the absolute #1 hack on how you can learn quicker, how you can learn, better, is by doing that. If I know a lot of us are kind of nervous about talking to other people we don't know and all that. We just kind of want to sit behind our thing and learn through the course, maybe be quiet during the live stream and watch that. But I promise you guys, if you get out there and you discuss, you have discourse with other people in there, you're going to pick it up so much quicker and so much stronger, so much better. And hell, it's a lot more fun. Guys like Andrew, man, they're in there every day. Andrew's charts, man, I tell you what, I could probably sell TWC based on what Andrew provides for you guys. His charts that he gives there in stocks and in crypto. Absolutely crazy, man. He's always adding charts in there for everybody. But we got other people that do that as well. It's just he happens to be right here talking a lot. So I want to shout out there to him for that. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of what we're looking at. Real quick, guys, PayPal. This is one that I called there. Again, another one of the bottoms I've done over the last year and a half on Twitter. I did this one on Twitter right here. I believe it was October 26th here, 27th. This right here. That ended up being the bottom. And so far, if you had gotten in at that point, or let's say the next day here, potentially you could have at one point been up already 33.88% in price there, or right now you'd still be almost 30% there on that. If you trade, use our risk management, you'd be up huge. But yeah, I think we've got wave circle 4 pulling back around $63 or even potentially $62 here. And then a minimum expected wave 5 of 1 up here at 69.85. The larger degree 1, 2, 3 has a minimum expected target at 82.50. Okay. So yeah, it's right there. Let's see here. Litecoin. I'm gonna keep showing you guys this. I think this is what we have. I think we have a very large 4th wave triangle here, which would give us a target based on the height of this of 24.86. And this is where people's, oh man, you're crazy. No, I'm never gonna join. You're so stupid. Look at you. Yeah, well, guess what? Same thing people said right here. Oh, where's my link? Link's another one I did publicly. I gave you guys the bottom on that as well. Oh, come on. Yeah. This one over here, I'd been talking about for months about this being accumulation. And as we were right around here, I said, we'll probably get a dip down below that'll print our spring. And if we do, price was probably good buy at around, $4.5, $5.5. And so that's what we got. We got our spring here. Boom, came back and took off there. So again, another one. We got a lot of charts like this that I've done in the hot takes. But these are things that I've done publicly. Right now, it looks like the pullback here looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here with a pullback. Let's see here. So this would be a 1 and a 2 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see here. So minimally, I would look for, I got to go and shoot. I'm over. Minimally, I'd at least be looking around $28.50 from here. Potentially $53.85. So I don't see any reason why this will not rally up, give us a new all-time high, by the way, guys. Just over there. But yeah, a lot of good, great accumulation range here. Nice big move out, reaccumulation. Back up here, rally up higher on that. Let me see here. Martin says, understanding that you are the only person to blame for success in life is the only way to succeed in anything that works. My man, yes, 100%. Let me tell you guys real quick here. Here's the way that I've learned to view life, okay? And this goes for every bit of life. No matter what happens to you, you have responsibility for it, okay? What do I mean by that? If you're walking down the road and you're on the sidewalk, right? You're on the sidewalk, you're minding your own business, whatever, and a car jumps the curve and hits you and puts you in the hospital. Yes, it was the driver of the car's fault for jumping the curb and hitting you. You have responsibility, though. You do have responsibility as well. Your responsibility is in that the decisions that you've made in life led you to that point that you were at that point, at that time, when that car hit you. That doesn't mean that it's your fault that the car hit you, but it means that you have responsibility for being in that point at that time. Okay? And I teach this because when people start understanding that they have responsibility for the things that happen to them in life, then they no longer feel the need to be a victim. They say, listen, things are going to happen. I make my decisions to the best of my ability, but things are still going to happen. And the choices I've made had led me to this point. So now I can do one of two things. I can accept that this happened and do something about it, or I can sit around and whine that life's not fair. But what is sitting around whining that life's not fair going to do for me? How is that going to make my life any better tomorrow? It's not. So I choose to take responsibility for the fact that I'm here, because once you take responsibility, you don't wallow in it anymore. The reason why people stay stuck in the past is they continue to wallow in it. They don't take responsibility. But taking responsibility is about you, not whoever's involved that maybe ultimately hurts you. It's just about you. Because once you take that responsibility, amazing things go on within you psychologically and emotionally. And you're able to move on. You're able to, whatever happened, you're able to leave it and move on. And if you can move on, then you can change. You can make things better. As long as you continue to wallow in what happened and sit in that, and the self-pity, and life is terrible. And I understand really bad things happen to people at times. I understand. That doesn't negate the fact that you have to accept that responsibility and make a choice to move out from it. And that's important for trading, because as long as you don't take responsibility for your wins and for your losses, I'm not responsible for your wins and your losses. Oh, but Chris, you put the chart out there. Whatever. That's fine. You had to make the moves. You had to take the responsibility to get into the trade and to use proper risk management. And then if you didn't, you have to take responsibility for not doing that, right? So once you figure this out, life becomes exponentially more fun. Life becomes exponentially, the colors become brighter, the sounds become sing-songier. Life just becomes better. Okay? And in trading, it makes a world of difference in trading. So, there we go, guys. Okay. I hope that resonates with you. I hope it's something that you guys take away from this more than anything else today. Because if you do, that's going to have the single greatest effect right now on whether or not you are successful, as a trader and just in life. And by successful, I mean doing the things that you want to do, doing what makes you happy. Okay. So, all right, real quick. Matt says, in Japan, when I was stationed there, the Japanese car insurance rules said that you were at least 5% responsible for any accident, even if you got rear-ended at a stoplight. Sort of similar idea. Yeah, sort of similar idea. Sucks, right? It sucks. Not going to wallow in it. Just going to deal with it and go on, right? All right, guys, listen. I hope you have an amazing weekend. I hope you all trade safe. Remember, the only thing you control is how much you lose. That's it. So risk management is the absolute most important thing you're going to do day in and day out as a trader. It's not sexy to do it, but what's sexy is a year later, 3 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later, you see your equity curve doing this the entire time. You see your capital account going from this to this. That's sexy. Having the freedom to say no. That is sexy. All right. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Y'all trade safe. Check under the video for the links if you guys want to join us, whether it's group coaching or our C3 monthly membership. We'd love to have you in there. Again, we give you more comprehensive education than anybody else out there. And honestly, I firmly believe we teach you what everybody doesn't. We proper risk management and how and why markets move the way they do. And those two things are going to make you so much more successful. Give you a chance at making a life that you want. Okay. All right. I hope you guys have a great weekend. You all trade safe, and hopefully I'll see you in over there at the TWC Trading Academy. If I do, if you guys join, please say hi. We'd love to hear from you. Help you get going. Okay. All right. Take care, everybody.